Go.
Hi, I'm Gary Drews. I'm the CEO of 9 Health Fair, and we're on a quest this year to find where health happens, because it happens to all of us, whether we choose it or not. Good things happen and not as good things, but we are looking for the things that are healthy, and I have a feeling that everybody experiences health in a different way and in a different place. And so to prove my point, I'm here with Liz Ritterman, our social media director from 9 Health Fair, and she's got a friend with her, not a pet, a friend, and this one I have named Red. Doesn't actually have a name. It's a Red Island.
It's a Rhode Island Red.
Rhode Island
Rhode
Red.
Island Red.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, hi Liz.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today and showing us your backyard.
Yep.
So Liz has got a bunch of chickens here in suburbia, and I've heard about this. I've heard there's a lot more chickens on the rise. In fact, they're taking over some neighborhoods, facetiously. So we want to find out though, why does Liz think these chickens are healthy for her and her family? So we're going to start with an easy question.
Sure.
Like, who came first, the chicken or the egg?
That's a good question. I still do not know the answer to that.
Okay. Well, I think our work is done here. Just kidding. So, tell us about chickens. Why do you have chickens?
Okay, so actually we had a neighbor that told us that you could have chickens, and we did not realize this. This was right after we moved into our last house, and yeah, my husband started looking into it, and he got really excited about the idea, and I have to admit, I was a little hesitant about it. I grew up in the Midwest, and grew up in farmland, and I was like, I don't know about that.
So didn't you already kind of know what chickens are like then, and you didn't think they would work in the city, or what?
No, it just, you know, when you grow up in the Midwest, at least for me, I just kind of thought, you know, oh, farming and, you know, livestock, and I don't know about all that.
Don't want that again.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, I mean, we didn't have any, my family didn't have any, but I grew up, you know, and our house was surrounded by farms, so, you know, I was kind of hesitant, and to be honest, thought it would be a ton of work, and
Yeah.
so I told my husband, okay, fine, we'll do it, but you do all the work. And surprisingly, they're not a lot of work.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, how many chickens do you have?
We have 3 chickens.
3?
Yep.
That's all?
That's all.
Feels like there's more around here.
Nope, there's just 3 for now. But we actually do enjoy having the chickens so much that the next time we get chickens, we're going to get more.
So how many are you allowed to have? We're here in Denver, in city limits
But
of
this
Denver.
is, actually, this is technically Edgewater.
Oh,
And so
okay.
in Edgewater, you're only allowed to have up to 6, but we just moved from Denver, and in Denver, you can have up to 8.
8 chickens.
8 chickens.
All
and
right.
so my husband actually built this coop here that you see.
I'll be darned.
And he built it himself, and when we built it, we designed it so that way it could be big enough that we could have the max should we decide that we want to do that. And we do think we're going to do that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
On
so-
your way to 6 chickens.
Yep.
All right, well, let's get to the important part here.
Yeah.
Do they make a lot of noise?
You know, they don't. You hear them when they're laying,
Yeah?
which is a little understandable.
What kind of sound do they make?
Oh, they squawk. They
Yeah.
squawk while
Can
they're
you
laying.
imitate this for us?
No. I'm not going to embarrass myself like that.
All right.
Sorry, Gary. But they only squawk when they're laying. That's pretty much it.
When they're laying eggs.
Yep, when they're laying
Well, I
eggs,
guess
which is
I'd squawk if they...
right.
you know,
That's what I
yeah.
always say. I'd be making a lot of noise too.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice too because then I know, oh, fresh egg.
Right. So how many do you get a day?
We get 3 eggs a day. Each
3?
bird, yep, each bird lays 1 egg a day. So we
Huh.
get 3 total, and they lay on a 25-hour cycle. So
Really?
it's like, yeah, later and later
Pretty
in the day.
regular, huh?
It's pretty regular, but they don't lay at night. So once it gets to, you know, late enough that they won't lay and it won't come to the next morning. So you'll have a skip day every once in a while.
Okay.
But for the most part, 3 chickens, 3 eggs a day.
So I've heard that there's a difference between store-bought eggs and eggs from a home coop. I'm not sure what the difference is. If the chicken's the difference or the egg is the difference, I'm not sure which really came first. So we're still going to try to get to the bottom of that. But in the meantime,
Yes.
what's the difference between an egg and an egg?
So I will say one thing we noticed is when they first started laying, when we got that first egg, we were so excited, and you know we had heard that there was a difference, and so we cracked open our egg next to a store-bought egg, and you could see visually, you could see a difference. The yolk, I had never thought store-bought eggs had like pale yolks. They were just yellow yolks. But compared to our chickens' eggs, like, I mean, they were so vibrant, they were almost like orange. Like, they were just so bright,
Yeah,
the
I've
yolks.
seen that.
So visually, that was the biggest difference that I saw. The other thing is, you know what you're feeding your chickens. So when you get the store-bought, especially the mass-produced.
Yeah, this is
eggs.
the ultimate organic egg.
Yeah, so like we feed our chickens a mix of scratch grains and layer feed, and then we also let them roam around, so that they're getting stuff out in nature, worms, bugs, whatever it is that they
This
like.
is real free range here.
Yeah, we let them roam around. Actually, I should probably let them out now, but we let them roam around while we're home. But if we're not home, we keep them in the coop, and it's more for their own safety. They're
Sure.
coyotes
And all that kind of stuff.
possums, skunks, you never know. So, or even hawks, which is another reason. I've actually seen hawks sit on the fence watching them.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So,
All right. So tell me again how this is helping. So what do we get? We get healthier eggs.
healthier eggs.
So what's better about the egg? Do they have more nutrients? Do they?
Visually, they do.
Are they? Okay.
They do. Studies say that when your backyard chickens, or even the cage-free that you can buy in the store, your eggs have more omega-3s. They have less cholesterol. I've read that they have like a third less cholesterol.
Really?
Yeah, a third of the cholesterol that store-bought eggs have. They have more vitamins A and D, and I think there's another vitamin that they have more of in their eggs. So it's
Okay.
healthier. And honestly, the other thing that's
Sneaking up on us.
yeah, I think we've got one in the nesting box that's laying.
Yeah,
right now.
they've got one laying an egg now.
Yeah, you can check that out. Take a peek here. This is our, you can see in there. This is our Easter egger, and this one lays blue eggs.
Seriously?
Seriously, and the other two lay brown eggs, but this one lays blue.
I don't think I've seen a blue egg since my son colored one. What makes the eggs blue? Do you have any idea?
I don't know
Okay.
the answer to that. I just know that Easter eggers, I've read that they will lay blue,
Yeah.
green. I've heard pink eggs. I've never seen a pink egg in my life, but I read that somewhere, so
Well, that'll be fun.
yes.
That'll be like a blue moon.
Right.
Yes. So we want to make sure you can write in and ask us questions while we're here with Liz. And because my understanding is there are a lot of people around town that are going this route of having chickens in their backyard. I would imagine some are more pet-like than others, but apparently there's thousands of people that have eggs out there, or eggs and chickens. Again.
Well, hey, you know what? This is Marla. I'm behind the camera, and we do have some questions, and I don't know if you can answer them, but we're going to ask them. So Kevin would like to know. He says, "Hey, from Greeley,
Hi,
are we able to raise chickens within the city limits in Greeley? Do you happen to know that?"
I don't know the answer to that, but if you go to your city's website, most cities now have a page addressing this very issue. So I would encourage you to go to the City of Greeley's website and find out. It's definitely worth it if you can. I personally feel like it's so worth it. Again, in the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't know about this, and my husband really pushed for it, and I'm really glad he did.
Yeah. So what do you do when you go on vacation? Do you have is there like a kennel for chickens?
No, but that's a very good question. So we just moved into this house, so hopefully we'll have the same experience we had in our last house. But our neighbors loved when we went on vacation because they would all get to take turns coming and collecting the eggs.
Okay.
So they were always very, very excited when we left town, and they were more than happy to step in and
Sure.
collect fresh eggs.
So we have another question, guys. JM Faye would like you to talk about cottage food versus commercial license.
Ooh, that's over my head.
It's over your pig. Well, we can actually do some research and
We
post.
can, yeah. Definitely send in your questions. If we don't know the answers to your questions, we'll look up the answers and we'll get back to you with the answers. And we'll also probably do a follow-up blog on this
Sure.
subject. So definitely give us your questions and we'll find out the answers if we don't know.
And to the earlier question that we had, you also want to check out your homeowners association regulations.
Oh, yes.
I live in a part of town where there's a HOA, and I am pretty sure they would not be as friendly towards having chickens in the neighborhood. But that doesn't mean you can't have them elsewhere. So the other question I had for you, Liz, is you're probably too young to remember this, but in the movie Rocky, chickens were used as a training device, and I'm wondering if you've tried that out. So do you chase the chickens just for fun?
No.
Or for getting in shape?
I do not. We actually taught our dog how to round the chickens up for us. So if that's one thing you're hesitant about, if you have pets and you're like, well, I don't know about chickens and my dog, and I mean, it's a fair concern. Your dog may not be great with chickens, but the people that we got our chickens from, they live out in Keensburg, and they taught us how to introduce the dog to the chickens. And it was, it was great. They have a really good relationship. We've taught her to round them up when it's time for them to go back in the pen or the coop. And we joke that the chickens are actually her chickens. We just get the eggs because she'll stand out here for hours. She'll watch over them. She'll make sure the squirrels won't get into the coop and eat their food. And she really enjoys just being out here with them.
Okay, we have some questions here. Some good, really great questions. So. We want to know where to keep the chickens in the wintertime.
Oh, that's a great question. These chickens are actually a cold hardy breed. And if you get your chickens from somebody here in Colorado, because you can order them online. I've never done that. I always get my chickens from a couple we know in Keensburg. But if you get them here in Colorado, they'll be cold hardy breeds. But even if you order them online, just do your research. Make sure that you pick out chickens that can handle Colorado winters. And then we just keep them in the coop. They'll spend most of the winter in the coop. The run is huge. There's plenty of space for them. We do not use a heating element. Some people will put heat lamps in the coops. We don't do that. We do have a light bulb that we keep in the coop because they need so many hours of light to lay. I believe it's like 14 hours. So we keep that in there. But we do not keep a heating element of any kind because the fire risk is just too much. A lot of times when a chicken coop catches on fire, that's why. It's because of the heating element. So better safe than sorry. And so we don't do that.
So is there any change in the patterns of laying eggs between winter and summer or anything like that?
As long as you have the light, there's not really. I've still been getting an egg a day from them. But when they molt, that is another thing. Your chickens will molt seasonally. They actually just finished molting, so they're now all back up and laying again. But when they molt, they don't lay eggs.
Okay.
So that's one thing to know. So if all of a sudden they stop laying eggs, don't worry about it. Most likely they're molting, and you'll be able to tell because there will be feathers all over the
Oh, that's
coop.
encouraging. So you can make pillows afterwards.
I've actually seen birds make nests out of their feathers. I've
Really?
seen several birds' nests around the house.
We have another question here.
Great.
So Casey wants to know what is the startup cost for chickens?
Ooh, that is another very good question. So basically your biggest startup cost is going to be the coop. When we got our first flock, we went to Murdoch's. And I want to say we spent maybe $300 on a store-bought coop. And it was really tiny. And then you obviously need the bedding, which is we do pine shavings and straw. And I honestly can't remember how much that cost, but it was, we still haven't had to buy more straw or pine shavings. I mean, you're in such a huge bulk. So that was like 3 or 4 years ago. And then the other cost is their feed. And honestly, they are cheaper to feed than my cats. Their feed is not expensive. We get the feed again from Murdoch's. And I want to say it's about $20 for a bag. I can't remember the exact weight of the bag, but it's heavy enough that I can't lift it. So my husband has to.
Wow. So here's another question from Kevin. Do you ever worry, or has it ever happened where the chickens are able to clear the fence or they have escaped?
Okay, that's another really good question. So most people don't realize this, but yeah, chickens can fly. And if this chicken will let me pick him back up, see, now I'm chasing chickens. Come here. Okay, she's not going to let me pick her up. But so what you do is to make it so they can't fly over, you clip one of their wings. And if you clip just one side, it'll make it so that they're off balance and then they can't fly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. So the major health benefits are then the eggs themselves.
The eggs.
How about just the idea of having animals around? We've talked a lot about connection with pets, and even with donkeys.
Yep.
If you've looked into our treasure trove of videos, you'll find that. But how about chickens? Are they good company? Do you do you let them
are.
sleep in bed?
No, they do not come in the house. But, my husband and I always say there's just something very zen-like about just sitting on the porch and just watching them be chickens. It's
Okay.
it's relaxing. We love when the weather is nice to just come out and, we'll just sit out on the porch, have dinner, and just let them roam and watch them, and it's just really relaxing just to watch them be.
Yeah, I bet. I
So-
bet that's the case.
It is.
So, well, I think I've learned an awful lot about chickens here, and never imagined there could be health benefits from having your own chickens. I've had a dog for a long time, and I know they're a lot of work, but it sounds like this is actually easier.
It is.
There's almost no cost involved, and you end up with eggs and not to mention neighbors that love you. And so we still haven't answered the key question, which I'm going to bring us back to.
Okay.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
I don't know.
And I'm going to go with the egg.
Okay.
Just materialized somehow.
Okay,
And
okay.
that's how we got chickens. So I think we've got a definitive answer.
Okay,
I've
I'll
based
try that.
that on some intensive research of the last couple minutes. And we're going to call it good for a day. In the meantime, though, we want to make sure that you get out to a 9 Health Fair this year. They start in a couple weeks and they go through May. And we're pretty sure you'll find a location that's convenient for you here in Colorado. And who knows, maybe we'll bump into each other out there. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you again soon on Health Happens. And this is Gary and Liz Ritterman, and we'll see you later.